Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, let's discuss the complete set of JMeter interview questions and answers. Okay, so I have already discussed the basic level performance testing interview questions in my previous video. So please do check out for those performance testing interview questions. In this video, I'm going to speak only about JMeter specific interview questions and answers. Okay, if you need this PDF, I have given a link in the description and also in the comment section. Please do check out and let me know if you have any query questions. Okay, uh, let's get started quickly. Uh, the very first question goes like, what is JMeter? Okay, with an interview ready answer, you can answer like Apache JMeter is an open source performance testing tool developed by Apache Software Foundation. It is primarily used for load testing, performance testing, stress testing, endurance testing, spike testing, and API testing. JMeter can test web applications, REST APIs, SOAP services, databases, FTP servers, LDAP, and TCP services. Okay, a sample real-time example, like suppose an e-commerce website expects 10,000 users during a sale. JMeter can simulate those users and measure response time, throughput, error rate, and server stability. Okay, in short form, you can answer like JMeter is an open source performance testing tool used to evaluate application performance, scalability, and reliability under different load conditions. Okay, and the next question goes like, why is JMeter used? And what are the components of JMeter? What is a test plan? What is a thread group? What is a ramp up period? What is a sampler? What is a listener? What is throughput? What is response time? What is latency? What's the difference between response time and latency? What is a think time? What is a timer? What is an assertion? What are config elements? What is HTTP request defaults? What is CSV dataset configuration? What is parameterization? Why parameterization is important? What is correlation? Why is correlation required? How do you perform correlation? What is regular expression extractor? What is JSON extractor? What is XPath extractor? What are controllers in JMeter? What is a loop controller? What is an if controller? What is a transaction controller? What is a throughput controller? What is synchronizing timer? What is bean shell? Why is Groovy scripting is preferred over bean shell scripting? What is a preprocessor? What is a post processor? What is caching? How do you handle cache in JMeter? How do you handle cookies in JMeter? What is HTTP header manager? What is JDBC testing? What is distributed testing? Why is distributed testing required? What is non-GUI mode? Why should we use non-GUI mode? What is an aggregate report? What is error percentage? What is TPS, transaction per second? Difference between load testing and stress testing. Difference between load testing and volume testing. And next comes the scenario based questions. You have 1000 users, response time is good, but throughput is very low. What will you check? Okay, or what would you investigate? And the next question is about JMeter architecture explanation. What causes memory leaks in JMeter? How do you tune JMeter for high load? How do you generate 1 lakh users? Difference between concurrency and parallelism. What is Little's law? What are percentiles? Why is 90th bar 95th percentile is important? Difference between average and percentile. Explain SLA, SLO and SLI. Okay, SLA stands for service level agreement, SLO stands for service level objective, and SLI stands for service level indicator. I can explain with a definition and a sample example. The next question is about thread scheduling. What is connection pooling? And what is keep alive? What happens when CPU reaches 100%? What happens when memory reaches 100%? What is garbage collection? How do you monitor JVM metrics? Explain the heap memory. Explain the non-heap memory. Explain GC locks. Explain network bottlenecks. Explain database bottlenecks. Explain application bottlenecks. What metrics do you monitor during performance testing? Explain New Relic integration with JMeter. And the next set of interview questions are based on senior level scenario based questions. Okay, so you executed a load test with 5000 users and it gives the result as shown below. What would you understand with the above results? Okay, and the next question is about explain Dynatrace integration with JMeter. Explain App Dynamics integration with JMeter. Explain Grafana integration with JMeter. Explain InfluxDB integration with JMeter. Okay, and how do you perform root cause analysis? Response time increased from 2 seconds to 10 seconds. What will you investigate or what will you check? 10% requests are failing. How will you investigate? Login request passes but business flow fails. Why? Throughput is low despite increasing users. Why? Server crashes at 500 users. What next? How would you test Black Friday traffic? API works individually but fails under the load. Why? How would you validate scalability? Response time increases only during peak hours. Why? How would you test microservices? How would you test a payment gateway? How would you test an OTP flow? How would you test file upload APIs? How would you test batch processing jobs? How would you test Kafka based systems? Explain one performance issue you identified and resolved. How do you decide workload model? What KPIs do you present to stakeholders? How do you determine whether the issue is in the application or database or infrastructure? How would you design a complete performance testing strategy for an e-commerce application? What is the difference between throughput and TPS? What's the difference between hits per second and throughput? What is Renziver's point in performance testing? What is pacing? What's the difference between ramp up and pacing? What is a bottleneck? What is capacity planning? What is a benchmark testing? What is a baseline testing? What is endurance testing? What is spike testing? What is soak testing? What is scalability testing? What is volume testing? What is workload modeling? What is a test strategy for performance testing? What is a performance test plan? What is an SLA breach? What is an error budget? What is queuing? How do you handle dynamic JWT tokens? How do you handle OAuth authentication? How do you test GraphQL APIs in JMeter? How do you test WebSocket applications? What is a heap dump? What is a thread dump? What is a deadlock? How do you analyze a performance test report? What should be included in a performance test report? What is the most common mistake performance testers usually make? During script recording, JMeter recorded 50 requests but only 10 are required. How will you identify important requests? You correlated a token successfully but still getting 401 unauthorized error. What could be the reasons? How would you identify whether JMeter itself is the bottleneck? While running 5000 users, response time is good but error rate is high. What will you investigate? How would you validate whether a load test is realistic? What would you do if production traffic pattern is not available? During endurance testing, memory continuously increases. How will you confirm a memory leak? Your manager asked why throughput is not increasing even after doubling the servers. What will you check? During testing, one API takes 15 seconds while others takes 1 second. How will you investigate the issue? If you are given a new application tomorrow, how would you start performance testing from scratch? How would you identify whether JMeter itself is a bottleneck? Response time is good but error rate is high. Okay. And what will you do? And throughput not increasing after doubling servers. What will you do? Or how will you investigate? New application given tomorrow, how will you start? Okay. Yeah, that's all guys. So these are some of the frequently asked important JMeter specific interview questions. If you are looking for complete document, whatever I went through in the video along with detailed answers, I have uploaded it in the interview preparation kit. Please do check out. It has been built after 13 plus years of experience and after crafting upon 3500 plus automation interviews, and it covers the actual interview questions as in almost all the companies. Okay, in that it has been designed for 0 to 15 plus years of experience. Okay, let me know if you have any queries or questions in the comment section or drop me an email. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please do check out for the link in the description or in the comment section. Thank you. All the best. Happy learning, happy testing.